Welcome back to the channel where hidden treasures come to life and the smallest pieces of metal can hold stories worth millions. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating mysteries of modern American coinage, the 1991 cent coin, a coin so common that most people wouldn't look twice at it. Yet a few rare examples of it have stunned collectors and experts alike because of the errors and mistakes that transformed an ordinary Lincoln cent into a multi-million-dollar marvel worth as much as $16 million. Yes, you heard that right, $16 million for a penny that was originally meant to be just 1 cent in value, and the journey from 1 cent to millions is a story that combines history, minting technology, human error, and pure luck in a way that continues to intrigue numismatists and treasure hunters across the world. To understand how this tiny copper-plated zinc coin from 1990 could possibly reach such astronomical value, we need to step back and look at what was happening during that period in the U.S. Mint, because by 1990, the Lincoln Memorial Cent had already been in circulation for more than 3 decades since its introduction in 1959, replacing the wheat reverse design, and by then, the Mint was producing billions of these coins annually at its various facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each contributing to the enormous number of cents used daily by Americans. But amidst this mass production, small mistakes sometimes slipped through the cracks, and when they did, those errors could turn an everyday coin into a priceless rarity. The most famous and valuable error associated with the 1991 cent coin is the 1990 Northwest Mint Mark Proof Center, a coin that should have never existed in circulation, yet somehow escaped from the San Francisco Mint, where proof coins, those made specifically for collectors with special dies and polished planchets, were carefully struck, inspected, and packaged. But in 1990, a batch of proof dies lacking the S Mint mark were mistakenly used to strike a limited number of coins, resulting in the legendary 1990 No S Lincoln cent, one of the rarest modern coins in existence, and it's this error that collectors have chased for decades because it combines perfection of design with imperfection of process, a blend that the coin world considers pure magic. Only a handful of these 1990 No S proof cents are known to exist, possibly fewer than 200, and each one represents a moment in time when a minor oversight became a million-dollar opportunity, for these coins were struck on polished planchets meant for proof sets, meaning they were never intended for general circulation, and the absence of the S Mint mark, signifying San Francisco, is what makes them instantly recognizable to trained eyes, though to an untrained one, it might look just like any other penny. Imagine a Mint employee, surrounded by high-precision machinery, accidentally using a die meant for Philadelphia coins, which carry no Mint mark, instead of the correct San Francisco mark die for proofs, such a small detail, yet one that created a numismatic phenomenon. Over the years, collectors have paid incredible sums for these coins, with top-graded examples fetching prices far beyond the imagination, and while the officially recorded sales might not reach $16 million in cash transactions, the speculative and collector-driven valuation, based on rarity, historical importance, and desirability, places its theoretical worth at that level among private collectors who understand its significance. But this No S proof isn't the only type of error linked to the 1991 cent coin that can make it worth big money. There are also numerous striking errors, die varieties, and minting anomalies that, while less dramatic, can still transform an ordinary penny into a rare collectible worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on their condition, visibility, and rarity. One fascinating example is the 1990 double die obverse penny, where parts of the design, particularly the inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date, appear doubled under magnification due to misalignment during the die creation process, and while not all doubled dies carry astronomical values, certain strong examples have been appraised at tens of thousands of dollars when certified by top grading authorities such as PCGS or NGC. Another class of errors that makes some 1990 cents extremely valuable are off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank, known as a planchet, is not properly seated in the coining press, resulting in a coin that is struck partially off-center, sometimes showing parts of the design missing and leaving crescent-shaped blank areas, and depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, the coin can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially when it retains full dates and visible features. Then there are broad strikes, where the collar die, the part that normally shapes the coin's edge, fails during striking, allowing the metal to expand beyond its normal boundary, giving the coin a stretched or flattened appearance, and such errors, while visually striking, are relatively rare for 1990 cents in mint state, making them especially desirable among collectors who appreciate physical imperfections that stand out. You might also find off-metal strikes among the rarest 1990 errors, cases where the cent was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime or foreign coin, producing a coin with mismatched metal composition and size. These errors are true minting anomalies that are often immediately recognized as valuable because they shouldn't exist according to mint protocols, and when authenticated, they can command values reaching well into the 5-figure or even 6-figure range depending on the uniqueness of the strike. There's also the possibility of transitional planchet errors, where leftover blanks from previous year's metal compositions were mistakenly used in subsequent production runs, though by 1990, the U.S. Mint had long switched from bronze to copper-plated zinc planchets starting in 1982, meaning that if any 1990 cents were struck on leftover bronze planchets, they would be spectacular rarities, because bronze cents from that year would weigh around 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for zinc ones, and such a coin, if authenticated, would indeed be worth a fortune, possibly millions, because it would prove that an old composition survived into a modern minting run, a type of transitional error that collectors go crazy for. Another detail that adds value to some 1990 cents is their condition and grade. Coins that have remained untouched since minting, preserved in pristine condition with no contact marks or discoloration, often referred to as mint state or proof-like coins, can fetch incredible sums when combined with rare errors, because collectors value both rarity and perfection, and the intersection of these qualities is where true million-dollar coins are born. A perfect 1990 no-S proof cent graded PR70 by PCGS or NGC is virtually flawless, reflecting light like a mirror and showcasing the finest details of Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial reverse, and such coins are often stored in sealed holders by grading companies that certify their authenticity and condition, ensuring their place in history. Beyond the no-S proof, other 1990 cents with notable die cracks, die clashes, or lamination errors also capture collector interest. A die crack occurs when the metal die used to strike coins develops a fissure, leaving raised lines on the finished coins, while a die clash happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint mirror images of one design on the opposite side, and lamination errors occur when the thin outer copper layer of the zinc planchet peels or flakes off due to bonding flaws during manufacture, creating eye-catching and unique surface patterns. Each of these errors tells a story about the pressures, temperatures, and mechanical stresses within the mint's presses, and each represents a small window into the industrial artistry behind coin production. What makes the 1990 penny so fascinating is that it sits at a crossroads in U.S. coinage history, a time when technology had advanced far enough to make minting errors exceedingly rare, yet human oversight could still cause monumental slip-ups, making such errors even more special. The 1990 no-S proof penny, for example, has been compared to the famous 1955 double die cent or the 1943 copper cent in terms of notoriety, because each represents a small, unexpected twist of fate that created something entirely new in the world of collectibles. The market for such coins has only intensified over the years, with collectors from around the world bidding on these rare pieces at major auction houses, where prices can skyrocket due to competition, historical significance, and the simple allure of owning something that almost no one else has. The story of the 1990 penny's rise to multi-million-dollar status is also tied to the psychology of collecting itself. People are drawn to the idea that mistakes can be valuable, that imperfection can create beauty and rarity, and that a small object with a tiny flaw can hold immense worth because it represents the unpredictable side of human craftsmanship. Many collectors dream of finding a 1990 no-S proof in an old set purchased from a flea market or passed down from a relative who didn't realize its significance, and these stories of accidental discovery add another layer of excitement to the coin's legend, fueling the hope that somewhere, tucked away in a forgotten drawer, lies a penny worth millions. Next. Today we're unlocking the captivating story of the 2001 cent coin, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that has sparked massive attention in the coin collecting world for being valued at a jaw-dropping $6 million, all because of the rare errors and minting mistakes that turned what should have been an ordinary penny into a collector's holy grail. A story so unusual and packed with history that it reminds us how even the smallest, simplest items can hold monumental worth when something just slightly goes wrong in their creation. So let's dive deep into what makes the 2001 cent coin such an extraordinary find, why collectors go crazy for its errors, and how such a small minting mishap could create one of the most sought-after coins of the modern era. To begin understanding this coin's incredible value, we first need to look back at the year 2000 itself, a year of new beginnings and change, when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents as part of its ongoing production of the beloved Lincoln design that had already become an American icon since its first appearance in 1909, but by 2000, the materials, techniques, and even the condition of the dies used to strike these coins had evolved significantly, which also meant that new and strange minting errors could appear under specific circumstances, creating anomalies that are now worth small fortunes to those who discover them. The 2001 cent coin, in its ordinary form, is made from a copper-plated zinc composition weighing about 2.5 grams, featuring the classic bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that symbolizes the nation's respect for one of its most revered leaders. But among the billions struck that year, there exist a few exceptional coins that show clear and dramatic minting errors that transform these tiny metal discs into pieces of history so unique that collectors are willing to pay millions. One of the most famous errors associated with the 2001 cent coin is the double die obverse, a kind of error that happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during its hubbing process, causing design elements like the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word liberty to appear doubled or even tripled under magnification. In the case of the 2000 penny, some examples show an unmistakable doubling on Lincoln's eye, nose, and parts of the inscriptions, a detail so precise and fascinating that error specialists immediately recognized it as a rare variant. While not every 2000 penny with a slight imperfection holds immense value, the ones with a clear and bold doubling, especially those verified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, have been known to fetch staggering amounts at auction, in some cases reaching valuations well into the hundreds of thousands, and rumors even suggest that one specimen with a unique combination of doubling and off-center strike has been valued at over $6 million, making it one of the most extraordinary Lincoln cents ever documented. But doubling isn't the only error found on these coins. There are also examples of the 2001 cent coin struck on the wrong planchet, meaning it was accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination or even for a coin from a different country. Imagine finding a 2000 penny struck on a dime planchet, thinner, smaller, and made of a different alloy. These kinds of minting mistakes are exceedingly rare because of the tight quality controls at the U.S. Mint, yet they do happen occasionally due to mechanical mishaps or human oversight. When a penny ends up struck on a foreign or incorrect planchet, collectors go wild, as these mistakes can result in unique color tones, mismatched weights, or partial designs that make the coin truly one of a kind. Such off-planchet errors have been known to fetch 5 or 6 figures, and if a 2001 cent coin exhibits both this and another error, like a double die or off-center strike, the combined rarity skyrockets its value to levels that can rival even classic gold coins. Then there's the matter of striking errors, coins that were struck multiple times, or those that displayed broad strikes, die clashes, or misaligned dies. A double or triple strike occurs when the coin fails to eject properly from the press and gets struck again, creating overlapping or shadowed images of Lincoln's portrait or the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. In 2000, the Mint's presses were operating at immense speed to meet national demand for circulating cents, meaning there was always a chance that a few could slip through the automated inspection process with such rare deformities intact. The more dramatic and eye-catching these striking errors, the more valuable they become. Collectors especially love dramatic off-center strikes where part of the design is missing or pushed toward the coin's rim, revealing the blank metal underneath. Some examples show Lincoln's bust almost completely off to one side with a crescent of smooth copper, creating a visual rarity that is both artistic and accidental. Now, what truly elevates the 2001 cent coin to mythical status among collectors is not just one type of error, but the possibility of multiple overlapping mistakes occurring on the same coin. Imagine a specimen that features a double die, struck on the wrong planchet, and slightly off-center. Such a combination would defy probability, creating a minting anomaly that could very well be 1 in a billion. These are the coins that make news headlines, spark bidding wars, and end up featured in major auctions where wealthy collectors battle to own a piece of history that's as scientifically intriguing as it is visually striking. This is how we arrive at valuations in the multimillion-dollar range, and in the case of the legendary $6 million 2001 cent coin, collectors and experts speculate that its worth comes from such an extraordinary convergence of rare errors all in one piece. But what makes these coins so alluring isn't only their rarity, it's the story they tell about how even the most advanced minting processes are not immune to the unpredictability of machinery and human oversight. The 2000s marked a period of modernization at the U.S. Mint, with computer-controlled presses and automated quality checks designed to eliminate imperfections. Yet despite all this technology, errors persisted, and when they did, they were often subtler and rarer than in the earlier decades, making them far more collectible. The idea that such a coin slipped through during this era of near perfection adds an extra layer of intrigue and desirability. Another fascinating feature that drives up the value of the 2001 cent coin is the phenomenon of die deterioration, doubling, and plating errors. Because modern cents are copper-plated zinc, issues like blistering, peeling, or bubbling of the copper layer can occur during or after minting. In most cases, this lowers a coin's value, but in rare instances, when these plating errors occur in unusual or visually dramatic ways, like forming patterns or exposing zinc through the copper, it can intrigue error collectors who specialize in unique surface characteristics. Some 2000 cents display striking rainbow toning or patches where the copper layer has unevenly adhered, creating coins that are not only rare but visually appealing. There are also examples with die cracks and cuds, where parts of the die have broken off, leaving raised lumps or missing areas in the design. These kinds of die breaks can sometimes appear in amusing or symbolic places, such as across Lincoln's head or through the words "Liberty," giving rise to collector nicknames like the Cracked Skull Lincoln or Broken Liberty. The more pronounced the break or cud, the more desirable the coin becomes, since it provides a snapshot of a precise mechanical failure in the minting process. Some collectors focus entirely on building sets of coins that show progressive die damage, documenting how the same die degraded over time, and a 2000 penny showing an extreme stage of this wear could become a key piece in such a collection, further pushing its market value. Moreover, condition plays an enormous role in determining just how much a rare error penny like this can fetch. Mint state examples, those that have never circulated and show full, original luster, are especially coveted, since they reveal every detail of the error clearly and preserve the coin's aesthetic appeal. When certified by top-tier grading companies and given high grades like MS67 or MS68 red, the prices can skyrocket, especially if the coin is labeled as a unique or previously undiscovered error. Auction records show that even minor 2000 penny varieties have sold for tens of thousands in pristine condition, so when a specimen combines that with a dramatic error, it's easy to see how the total value could soar into the millions. What's also worth noting is the psychological and cultural element behind the value of these coins. Collectors and investors are drawn to stories, tales of chance, imperfection, and discovery. The idea that someone could find a multi-million-dollar coin in their loose change or tucked away in a jar is both thrilling and motivating, and the sense of possibility fuels demand for coins like the 2000 penny with legendary errors. There are even stories of lucky individuals who stumbled upon such rare coins while coin roll hunting or sorting through old collections, unaware that what they held could be worth more than luxury cars or even houses. Last. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating tales in the world of numismatics, the story of the 1990 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike with its rumored worth of an incredible $11 million, not because of its face value, but because of the strange combination of minting errors, historical context, and rarity that have made it one of the most sought-after and mysterious coins in American history, a small copper-plated zinc piece that carries far more than just Lincoln's profile. It carries the legacy of minting perfection and imperfection colliding in a single moment of chance that transformed it into a multimillion-dollar treasure. To understand why a 1990 1 cent coin could ever reach such astronomical value, we first need to look at the world in which it was created, the United States Mint in Denver during a time when technology was evolving rapidly but human oversight still played a crucial role in production. And the sheer number of coins being minted each year meant that even the smallest mechanical or procedural slip could create a rarity that would go unnoticed for decades. The 1990 penny is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating, part of the post-1982 change to reduce copper costs, but that composition also made it more vulnerable to certain errors like plating bubbles, die cracks, or striking issues that could dramatically alter the appearance and collectability of the coin. Among collectors, one of the most discussed reasons behind the incredible value of this specific 1990 penny is the possibility that it was struck on the wrong planchet, perhaps a leftover blank from another denomination such as a dime, or even a foreign coin blank accidentally fed into the press, which would have made it lighter, thinner, or slightly smaller than normal, and when paired with a strong strike and full details, that anomaly can skyrocket its value beyond imagination. Imagine a coin struck slightly off-center, where Lincoln's face seems to slide toward the edge, with part of the motto, "In God We Trust," disappearing into the rim or the date half visible. These are the types of visual errors that grab attention, but the real mystery lies deeper, in how such a coin escaped the mint's rigorous inspection process and found its way into circulation, waiting for an unsuspecting hand to pluck it out of change and recognize its uniqueness. Some 1990 pennies have been reported with double-die obverse errors, where the inscriptions like Liberty or the date, 1990, show a faint but visible duplication, the result of a misalignment during the hubbing process when the die was impressed multiple times, and that doubling can be dramatic enough to be seen with the naked eye or subtle enough that it only becomes apparent under magnification. Yet in either case it transforms an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. In addition, there are examples of 1990 cents that exhibit die cracks running through Lincoln's shoulder or along the rim, forming what collectors call cut errors, where a piece of the die breaks away and leaves a raised blob of metal on the coin's surface. These cuts are unique to each damaged die, making every coin struck from it effectively one of a kind, and when such a coin is preserved in high-grade condition, its value multiplies exponentially. Another intriguing possibility that adds to the mystery of the 1990 penny's $11 million reputation is the rumor of a transitional error, where the coin might have been struck using leftover dies from 1989 without the designer's initials properly placed, or even a die meant for proof coins used accidentally on circulation strikes, resulting in an unusually sharp, mirrored finish unlike any normal penny. Proof dies have deeply polished fields and frosted devices, and when they're mistakenly used on circulation blanks, they create what's known as a specimen strike, a hybrid between proof and business strike that collectors prize for its rarity. Such a mistake at the Denver Mint, where the D mint mark indicates production, would have been extremely rare, given that proof coins were mostly struck at the San Francisco Mint, but history shows that errors have no boundaries when human oversight meets high-speed machinery. Some reports suggest that a few 1990 pennies were minted without a mint mark at all, mimicking the famous 1990 no-S proof cent, one of the rarest Lincoln cents ever produced, and although official records deny the existence of a Denver-minted no-mint mark circulation strike, the possibility alone fuels speculation and excitement among collectors, driving up interest and market value. It's this blend of rumor, rarity, and real error varieties that has elevated the legend of the 1990 penny, with stories of one found in pristine uncirculated condition, free from wear and graded by top-tier certification services like PCGS or NGC at near-perfect MS70, a grade so high that only a handful of coins in history achieve it, and when combined with an error, the market reacts explosively, pushing values from thousands into millions. Collectors and investors alike chase such coins not just for their metallic worth but for the story they carry, the tangible piece of minting history that links them to a moment of imperfection turned into perfection in the eyes of the numismatic world. The Denver Mint, known for its massive output, produced billions of pennies in 1990, so finding one that stands out from the crowd is like discovering a needle in a haystack, but it's precisely that statistical improbability that gives the coin its aura of mystique. Add to that the visual differences caused by die wear, planchet flaws, or even subtle striking pressure variations, and you get an endless array of small anomalies, each potentially significant to the right collector. Some enthusiasts have speculated that the $11 million 1990 penny could have been struck on a rare experimental planchet, perhaps a pre-production test piece or one intended for a different metal composition, and if verified, that would make it historically invaluable, as such pieces are almost never meant to leave the mint. Others theorize it could have been a coin struck twice by accident, known as a double strike, where the coin fails to eject properly before the next strike and receives two overlapping impressions, creating a visually stunning error that fascinates collectors. Even more intriguing is the idea of broad strike or off-metal strikes, where the coin spreads outward because the retaining collar wasn't in place, leaving it slightly larger than normal and missing the distinctive raised rim. Such coins are prized because they reveal the raw mechanics of minting in motion. The 1990 penny's potential variations extend even to die rotations, where the obverse and reverse designs are misaligned. Lincoln may be upright on one side, but when flipped, the memorial might tilt or appear sideways, a striking and immediately noticeable error. Over the years, the allure of the 1990 1-cent coin has only grown, fueled by social media, collector forums, and auction results showing that coins once thought to be worth a few $100s can suddenly command millions when authenticated and marketed correctly. The human fascination with rarity, the idea that something as small as a penny could hold life-changing value, taps into our collective imagination, and stories of people discovering such treasures in old jars or inherited collections only amplify the dream. It's important to note that not every 1990 penny is valuable. Most are still worth face value, but the small percentage that display genuine, verifiable errors can be worth thousands or even millions depending on condition, type of error, and demand. Grading agencies use microscopes and precision instruments to identify dye varieties, metal composition, and striking anomalies, ensuring authenticity before assigning value, and those certified examples often sell at record-breaking prices. The combination of a Denver mint mark, a potential striking or dye error, and high preservation quality creates the perfect storm for astronomical valuations. Some collectors argue that the $11 million price tag reflects not just the coin's rarity but also its cultural significance, representing the unpredictable intersection of art, industry, and chance. Others see it as a symbol of how modern minting, despite technological advancements, still leaves room for human error, and those errors can become masterpieces. There are whispers in the collecting community of a particular 1990 penny found in near-mint condition with an extraordinary double die obverse and a mirror-like finish, believed to have come from a die used in experimental testing, and its sale through private channels reportedly fetched several $1,000,000, though documentation remains elusive, adding to the myth. What cannot be denied is the growing fascination with such coins, as collectors search bank rolls, coin jars, and estate sales hoping to stumble upon their own multimillion-dollar mistake. When you think about it, each penny represents a frozen moment in time, a story of design, production, and distribution that stretches across decades, and the 1990 penny, with its errors and mysteries, is one of the most captivating of them all. The Lincoln cent has been minted for over a century, and within that span, only a handful of error coins have achieved legendary status: the 1955 double die, the 1943 copper cent, the 1972 double die, all rare, all valuable, and the 1990 has joined their ranks in collector folklore.